As gifted physical comedian and former SNL star Victoria Jackson was once regarded as one of America's funniest women. Then she vanished from the spotlight. But why? Since leaving SNL in 1992, Victoria Jackson's political and religious beliefs became increasingly extreme. She backed the Tea Party movement, roasted former Democratic Senator Al Franken on the O'Reilly factor, and argued Barack Obama was some kind of radical communist. So it wasn't exactly a surprise when Jackson helped launch a new conservative political web series called Politichicks. Joined by a panel of female co-hosts, Jackson aimed to make the series an alternative to The View. She told Politico in 2011, "The View is so amazingly all liberal except for a tiny squeak from Elizabeth Hasselbeck once in a while. We will probably have a token liberal eventually, like The View has a token conservative." However, the series didn't invite anyone from the left to join its panel. Jackson also made it clear that they wouldn't be particularly welcome anyway, causing controversy with comments on everything from the Occupy Wall Street protests to marriage equality. In 2012, Jackson published her memoir, Is My Bow Too Big? How I Went From Saturday Night Live to the Tea Party. The book was unsparing in its criticism of Jackson's former workplace, to an extent some felt was a little too far. While appearing on the podcast Wasn't That Special 50 Years of SNL, Jackson claimed that Alec Baldwin took offense to a passage about his 1990 hosting gig on SNL. In the book, Jackson recalled an incident in which Baldwin allegedly commented on the size of her breasts. She told the hosts, "I didn't know if he was flirting with me or he was being mean. It was kind of a mixture. I think he heard about the book and ever since Alec's been mean to me." It's an understatement to say that Jackson could never be described as a gay ally. In a 2011 appearance on Showbiz Tonight, she expressed horror over a recently aired same-sex kiss on Glee, describing it as nothing less than a moral outrage.
I think there's a spiritual war in our country right now.
It's a spiritual war she's been waging for more than a decade. In 2023, as a member of the group Moms for Liberty, she called for any books depicting LGBTQ content to be taken off the Williamson County, Tennessee library shelves. And later that same year, she protested against a Pride festival at a Tennessee council meeting. Taking to the stand, Jackson drew upon her unique understanding of scripture to blast the forthcoming event. According to Pink News, she said, "God hates homosexuality. He said it's an abomination. And God hates sexual immorality, all kinds, and God hates pride. Like one of the most things he hates is pride." If that wasn't clear enough, Jackson also tried to promote a YouTube channel that espoused anti-gay views and expressed how she didn't want people to continue to be, quote, brainwashed. The former SNL alum was eventually stopped by a security guard who took her microphone away. Following her husband's retirement from the Miami-Dade SWAT team in 2013, Jackson decided to move from the Sunshine State to Nashville, Tennessee. Jackson claimed at the time that she'd wanted to be closer to her children, but judging by her comments to USA Today later that year, it wasn't the only reason. Jackson told the outlet, "Living in Miami, I felt like I was in a foreign country. Nashville has two of my favorite things, Jesus and show business." But the funny woman didn't waste any time in upsetting some of her new neighbors. Shortly after a Muslim man named Dayoud Aboudiad had also moved nearby, Jackson wrote a blog post with the title, "Civilization Jihad Hits Home, My Backyard Literally." She also protested against a public discussion by the American Muslim Advisory Council and the construction of a mosque in the neighboring town of Murfreesboro. After spending years vowing to go deeper into politics, Jackson put her money where her mouth was in 2014, running for a seat on the Williamson County Commission in Tennessee. She came a distant third to fellow candidates Betsy Hester and Judy Lynch Herbert, securing just 632 votes. Although Jackson initially appeared to have accepted her defeat, she soon made it clear that her political rivals hadn't seen the last of her. On her blog, the comedian expressed concerns that Herbert and Hester weren't prepared enough to combat the policies of then-President Barack Obama. She wrote, "I think they've been living in the Williamson County bubble and are not aware that the Obama administration and the fast-moving lunge towards socialism in our country has begun to erase our freedoms even here. As their annoying constituent, I will try to share my knowledge and research with them so they can make wise choices." In January 2016, Jackson took to her personal blog to reveal the devastating news that she'd been diagnosed with breast cancer. Alongside a series of heartwarming family pictures and home videos, the star explained how she learned of her condition. She wrote, "It all happened pretty suddenly. I went to the walk-in clinic for a cough. I asked the nurse practitioner if the numb spot near my underarm was my lymph gland fighting the cough. Jackson went on to add how she was immediately admitted to the Vanderbilt Breast Clinic, where she underwent a double mastectomy and was awaiting her first course of chemotherapy. The comedian also discussed how her faith has helped her to get through such a difficult time. She wrote, "Cancer is a horrible word, but let me tell you, as a Jesus follower, this has strangely been a blessing to my family and made us much closer to each other and to God." Jackson spent more than enough of Obama's presidency publicly criticizing him. In 2008, Jackson claimed that Obama wasn't a Christian while delivering a speech at the Hollywood Congress of Republicans.
He doesn't act like a Christian at all.
A year later, she recorded a song titled "There's a Communist Living in the White House," and in 2015, during an appearance on Newsmax, she said about Obama,
"He's an Islamic jihadist."
Then there was the time she fell for a piece from satirical news site National Report, which joked that Obama was spending the 4th of July at the White House with a group of Muslim leaders. She angrily wrote in an ex-post, "Obama continues to slap America in the face and spit on her. I am outraged. If you're not, you are uninformed." After spending 8 years bashing the president, Jackson unsurprisingly changed tactics when Donald Trump ascended to the White House.
"This American carnage stops right here and stops right now."
The star continually expressed her support for Trump on social media, once imploring her Instagram followers to follow her lead and cast their votes for him. Jackson has also claimed that she helped spearhead the Make America Great Again idea way back when Trump was hosting the NBC reality series, The Apprentice. She wrote in the caption of an Instagram post, "The MAGA movement is the Tea Party with a new name. We started fighting back against Marxism in 2010. Jackson has also defended Trump by calling out her old Saturday Night Live stomping ground. She told the Minnesota Star-Tribune, "Now the agenda is so blatant, it's obvious that they want to push a far-left agenda to indoctrinate a new generation. They couldn't even tell a joke about Obama. When Alec Baldwin does Trump, it's done with hate. When we did political figures, it was with love and humor." Jackson has never been shy about her fervent religious beliefs, obviously. And this was true even when she was in the cast of SNL. She once gifted her colleagues audio versions of the Bible for Christmas, for example, and refused to appear in a sketch that she said mocked the concept of prayers. She now believes that her outspoken beliefs cost her job opportunities. In a 2022 interview with the Minnesota Star-Tribune, Jackson claimed that she'd essentially been blacklisted by Hollywood for all the things she'd said in public. In her words, "The only people you can make fun of is blondes, dumb blonde jokes. You can't make fun of Muslims or you die."
So I wasn't surprised with the liberal, progressive, communist media attacking me.
Although it's been a long time since Victoria Jackson enjoyed a high profile, she hasn't entirely abandoned her acting career. In the last decade, she's appeared in the rom-com The Matchmaker, the Christian movies Saving Faith and Heaven Bound, and the Christmas comedy Jingle Smells. The latter, in which an action movie hero incurs the wrath of cancel culture, also gave Jackson the opportunity to play against type as a rage-fueled liberal. Of course, while promoting the comedy, Jackson made it clear that the role hadn't influenced her real-life mindset. She told the website Hollywood in Toto, "In the 70s, the cast of Saturday Night Live were the rebels. Now to be a rebel means being a woke leftist propagandist. We make fun of all the presidents equally, but when Obama was the president, they wouldn't make fun of him. I think it's racist to treat a black person differently, and they treated him differently." In 2023, Jackson released her debut album titled When I Get to Nashville at the age of 64. The album saw Jackson perform no fewer than 18 songs along with various stand-up routines, all inspired by events following her move from Miami to Nashville. She explained in a press release, "My dad, mom, and brother died, I got cancer, my 3 dogs died, and my husband of 30 years asked for a divorce. It's good songwriting material. All good art comes from pain. Actually, he didn't ask for a divorce, he screamed it a million times. But we're still married."
I was always a little bold, but I'm bolder now.
The album, which also boasted a guest appearance from her old SNL castmate Rob Schneider, wasn't the first time Jackson had displayed her musical talents, of course. She repeatedly showed off her ukulele skills and high-pitched singing voice during her stint on SNL. 8 years after disclosing her breast cancer diagnosis, Victoria Jackson took to Instagram to reveal some even more devastating news. Doctors had discovered a windpipe tumor, which was not only inoperable, but left her with only 3 years to live. Jackson told her followers in an August 2024 Instagram video, "They're giving me a magic pill. It's going to be delivered to my front door within the next 12 hours. It's based on ribociclib, and it will shrink the marble, hopefully. I looked up the pill on Google, and it says people who take this have 32.6 months to live," something like that. Jackson went on to list some of the life achievements she's most proud of before stating what milestones she still hoped to be around for. She added, "I'd like to see my grandson born, his name is Jimmy, in October and get to know him a little, and I would like to see my daughter Aubrey have a baby." Having repeatedly slammed the current state of SNL, you might have thought that Victoria Jackson would have burned all her bridges with the comedy institution. However, in 2025, Jackson was invited to attend not just one, but 2 of its 50th anniversary events. And Jackson gladly accepted both invitations, gracing the red carpet at SNL 50 The Homecoming concert before attending SNL 50 The Anniversary special just a few days later. And as you'd expect, she made sure to wear her trademark giant bow on each occasion. Jackson seemed to enjoy mixing with the comedic elite again, posting behind-the-scenes photos on Instagram in which she posed alongside the likes of Jim Gaffigan and former SNL writer Jim Downey. She also appeared in a selfie taken by Jon Lovitz, which included Adam Sandler and Paul McCartney. Jackson also thanked the Happy Gilmore star for including her in the backdrop for his musical performance.